Hello, you chess brainiac. Welcome back to the Full Strive YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the final match of my recent Full Strive chess tournament. This game went absolutely bonkers for one player, and I'm going to be breaking down the facts for you. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Alrighty guys, so this chess tournament final was a 3-minute blitz game with no bonus time. It was played between Ivo and Ika, I believe is how you pronounce their name. And the game opened up with d4, d5, followed by c4, e6, which is a queen's gambit declined. Game continues with knight c3, knight f6, all very principled stuff. Bishop g5, bishop e7, e3, castles, bishop d3, and then we get b6, which is the first inaccuracy of the game. I believe it wanted Ivo to play c5 here, which is striking at the center. This is a very complicated move because obviously you're in a much lower time control. Also, we did have to nerf Ivo a little bit because he is a little bit higher rated than Ika, so he had to wait 1 minute and 30 seconds on move 3 to start playing the game. So he's running a little bit lower on time, so the moves might not come to him as quickly. But in this position, instead of playing here, which honestly, I don't even hate that move. I don't even think that move's bad. It's just engine's just 3,000 elo. The engine wanted them to play here. So the game continues with b6, and then Ika plays knight f3, developing the knight. Honestly, don't hate that move. I believe so. In this position, I wanted him to take the knight on f6, and then the bishop will take back. And then after this exchange, c takes, and if e takes, I believe queen h5 is what it says. And then you have a threat on this pawn. So very complicated stuff, especially in like lower time control. But he played knight f3, and the game continues with bishop e7, castles, knight bd7, which is a good move because you develop the knight, defend the knight simultaneously, and get them after starting square, so the rook gets in the game too, and eventually you can push this pawn. Game continues with queen d2, pushing the queen up just slightly. Ika's also trying to play very fast to try and get Ivo to waste a little bit more time and have to think a little bit more. Ivo responds with c5, and then that is the best move. He did eventually play it, so props to Ivo for finding that move, especially in a lower time advantage. Game continues with d takes c5, and then knight takes c5, and then Ika plays b4, which is a blunder because after knight takes d3, queen takes d3, you have d takes c4, and the best move on the board is queen take, the best move on the board is queen takes d8, and then the f rook takes on d8, and then bishop takes f6, bishop takes back on f6. Now the knight is pinned to the rook. You know, get this back. So instead of playing the queen taking there, let's say, okay, so pawn takes, and then you go takes, so you get the pawn back. Black just has a much better advantage here because you can take the knight here. The bishop is threatening this pawn too, and it wants you to play rook c8 because you're threatening the queen and the knight simultaneously. And so after the queen slides back to, let's say, engine says b3, and then after queen d3, you have a double attack on this pawn, and the engine doesn't like that, but you get the point. So that is not actually what happened. So the rook slid over, and after that it went rook ac1. Ika trying to prevail and defend that pawn that he's about to lose. And that's kind of crazy though, because when the rook does slide over, it does create a double attack on this pawn. So rook takes the pawn. I guess it wanted them to take the pawn wanted the d pawn to take on the c file. But so you took with the rook. And then after a3, knight e4, jumping the knight in to attack the knight. And this does create a threat on the bishop, but the queen does still cover. After knight takes, rook takes back, d takes e4. You do have a fork, but the queen's going to take the queen. Bishop takes. And instead of Ika taking the bishop on d8, you slide the knight back. And when you slide the knight back, you lose a bishop. If you were to take this bishop, it's still an even exchange. Even if the pawn takes here, I believe, yeah, you just get your bishop out of danger and you're in the clear. And so it is kind of scary because the pawn is going to be able to take here too. But the bishop is more valuable than the knight, and Ika is up a pawn at the current moment. Now, mind you, these players are playing a blitz game, so they're playing a little bit faster, but I believe the best move would have been bishop h4 or bishop g5. It says bishop e7, attacking the rook, which is crazy. And then after here, ooh, you bring the rook down to c7, attacking the bishop and defending this bishop at the same time. That's a crazy sequence. But that doesn't happen. He moves the knight, or this person moves the knight back. Rook c7, bring the rook in to try and create some counter threats. And at this point, the game is completely lost. Black has a three-piece advantage. Excuse me, a four-piece advantage, taking the bishop, which is 3 pieces. And then after bishop a6, rook takes a7. And at this point, you're just trying to create something. And Eva would go on to finish the game off with a checkmate on move 26, which is a mistake by Ika. Should push the pawn there, because after that's the only way to prevent checkmate. Because if you push the pawn here, I believe that's your only move to stop checkmate. After rook takes here, you just move your rook somewhere else. Oh, you can actually just take the pawn there because it defends the rook. But yeah, and that's how the game concluded. So this was Ika's first mistake here, and this is a bit of a tricky sequence, like I said, in very low time control. Because after knight takes d3, queen takes d3, and I wanted them to take the pawn here. Oops. Yeah, it wanted Evo to take the pawn here, and if the queen takes, you slide the rook over to pin the rook to the queen, and then queen slides back, queen d6. Which is a mistake. That probably would have been played if that was the sequence that happened. Best move on the board, it says, is d3. Ooh, pinning the knight to the queen. The queen isn't actually in danger though, because you can just move the knight out of danger, I believe. Let's say you play a move like this, knight d1. Best move is queen g6, attacking the bishop, and if bishop takes here, this bishop is now attacking the rook, so the rook's gonna have to move. But after you move the rook, you lose the knight because the queen is pinning the pawn to the queen. So that was the first mistake that Ika made, and then, like I said in the transition here, Ika, instead of moving the knight here, Ika needed to take the bishop here, and this person did have time to take the bishop here. He was playing a little bit faster, like I said, to try and prevent more catastrophic sequences that would further Black's advantage in the position. But yeah, no. But if rook takes, so it says the best move is rook takes d8, but you can take here too, I think. No, you can't. So the best move is to take here. Then after the knight slides back. Oh, you can't go there because that just blunders the knight. Here. I don't think you can go anywhere. Oh, here. There we go. This is the move. Because the pawn defends the knight. But yeah, just gotta take a little bit more time there. But yeah, Evo would go on to win the chess tournament final. And that concludes our review. Alright, you chess brainiacs, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy this video, and if you enjoyed that video, you might also enjoy this video. I post these videos a couple times a week, so you might consider subscribing if you're a fan of chess. And we also have a Discord server where we host chess tournaments with free entry, cash prizes, host daily chess puzzles, a chess dojo, and so much more. The link to that is going to be in the description down below. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.